Ah, yes, the disrespect continues from Mercedes to their drivers of both Kimi Antonelli and George Russell. What am I talking about? Listen, finally, the news came out, okay? George Russell and Kimi Antonelli will be Mercedes drivers in 2026. And that's all we heard. There will be drivers in 2026. We don't hear about multi-year deal. We don't hear about, 1 year option to extend. We don't hear about any of it for either driver. And I'm wondering, who does this benefit more? Does this benefit Mercedes more, or does this benefit Russell and Kimi Antonelli more? Let's start with Mercedes. The reason why it might benefit them. They can keep their powder dry for the longing of Max Verstappen. They can still dream and hope, as Toto Wolff has been doing, to hope for Max Verstappen to finally join them maybe in 2027. And I can't get my head around why Mercedes are still flirting with somebody who is not going to be on that table. Max Verstappen is going to stay at Red Bull. And if he's going to go to Mercedes, if he's going to leave Red Bull, it won't be to Mercedes. I know the noise is that Mercedes are the favourite. They've got the best car in terms of going into the new regulations. They seem to be the ones most well equipped. We can hear that on a rumour mill. We can see what that happens. We have to wait until that testing starts. When that first test happens next year in 2026, that will be the moment when we can judge and say, okay, right, Mercedes have hit the ground running. But the reason why it might benefit them to just do the 1 year deal is because what if it really goes wrong next year as well? What if 2026 is actually a disaster in terms of by their drivers, not necessarily even by the car? Maybe the car is there, but let's say Kimi Antonelli, for example, has an absolute Western supermare, because Kimi Antonelli's had a tough rookie season. We have to be fair, right? Kimi Antonelli's not had the easiest rookie season in 2025, and he's had to learn things. He's had to learn the hard way. He's had to learn when the spotlight is on him. Toto Wolff talked about this. He's going to be able to hash out everything in his first year here at Mercedes. And if you're a George Russell, you might look at that a little bit with envy, because George Russell had to sit and wait in that Williams for years after years. Was it 3 years total when he felt like he was ready to jump in that Mercedes, because he was already a Mercedes driver sent on loan to Williams, and he had to bide his time. Thing with George Russell is he could have made all those mistakes at Williams when the spotlight wasn't on them, because they were at the back of the pack. We were not noticing Russell's mistakes. We were not noticing them unless he crashed and destroyed the car. We wouldn't know any of those situations there with George Russell. With Kimi Antonelli though, it's front and center. We are seeing it constantly, time and time again. And so for Mercedes, this might be a thing of like, look, why don't we actually just sort of see how these two get on in the new regulations? Because I wonder, say this was like 2023 and they were getting new deals, I reckon they will get a new deal up until the regulation changed. I think the very fact that the regulations are changing is the reason as to why Mercedes are a bit like, let's proceed with caution in terms of the public view. Because honestly, I don't believe for a second that it's only a 1 year deal. And I don't believe for a second that Kimi Antonelli nor George Russell think it's only a 1 year deal. I think there's a multiple year deal going on here. But publicly, what do we address? What do we put out there? What do we put to the world? The main thing that they've put on all social medias, on the press release and everything else like that, 2026 lineup is this. And that for me is a cause for concern. I'm questioning that. I'm very much questioning that, because, well, what are we saying here? Do we want to keep them here? Do we not want to keep them here? Are we happy with their performances? Do we believe that we can, do we gain any value in extending a multi-year deal? When you heard some of the deals in Formula One, it's always multi-year. It's always multi-year. And if it's like a one option, if it's like a 1 year deal, we always hear like it's a 1+1 or one with an option or whatever like that. We never hear just a 20. By the way, driver lineup, this is what it is. And if it is, it's like, it's because it's a brand new driver going into a new team. So like when Ocon went to Haas, it was Haas's driver lineup. It's going to be Behrman and Ocon. We don't discuss how long Ocon's deal was because it's not really relevant in this situation. The reason it's relevant in this situation right here with Mercedes is because these are the drivers that have already been here. These are their drivers. So why are we acting? Why are we pretending like they are not, that they're not, we can't pretend like this is brand new. It's not brand new. They are here. They're here to stay. So that's probably the reasons why Mercedes might benefit them to just announce the 1 year deal. In George Russell's case, let's have it right. George Russell is hot property right now. This man is on fire. And he's been like he's been a candle that's been burning and burning and burning as the season's gone on, and he's just got absolutely tremendous. And it's like we're at this curve of the season now, this tail end of the season, where everyone is sort of sat there and realize, yo, George has been cooking. George is doing a good job. And he will argue and say, I've been doing a good job, yo. Guys, let's not forget what this car is. And look what I'm getting out of this car. Let's not forget the hardships we went through last year. Bearing in mind, Ferrari, remember, they were toe-to-toe with McLaren up until the last race in 2024 for the Constructors' Championship. Where are Ferrari now? We can't find them. We don't know where they are. Mercedes are above them now in the Constructors' Championship. And bearing in mind, Mercedes have got a rookie driver on the other seat. So it says more how bad Ferrari is. But then you could also look at it from a George Russell perspective and say, hang on a minute, look at what I've done in this car. Look at what I've done with this team. I am the leader of this team. And you know what? Since Hamilton's gone, I've led this team pretty darn well. And I would argue that is definitely the case. So the fact that he's hot property, the fact that he's got all the bargaining chips, the fact that the ball can be in his hands the way that he wants to, depending on how he wants to play it. It might be his idea that I just want a 1 year. Why? Because then the market is fresh in 2027. He's got a choice. He could have a range of choices. Not only that, people can start belling that phone. They will start calling George Russell next season. Teams are going to call this boy. Make no mistake about it. They're going to call him this year. They're going to call him next year, and they'll be calling him the year after. Make no mistake about it. George Russell is hot property right now. And in terms of like form and everything else, he's like one of the informed drivers on the grid at this moment in time. And what a time for this news to come out. It's good. It's good for George because it's coming out at a time where he's actually doing well. Whereas if this was at a time where, you know, maybe well after the season, winter break, maybe when or even a summer break, or maybe when he's not performing well, maybe the car's doing horribly wrong, it's not doing great, and then they announce the new contract. It's good news, but it's a case of on a George Russell, you know, bias, selfish way, you'd be thinking, yeah, let's just sign this and like, you know, let's just get the hell out of here because I could have been without a seat and nobody would have been belling for me, right? So that could have happened on one hand. Kimi Antonelli now. This is a bit of a trickier one because Kimi Antonelli, I'm struggling to find a benefit for him in it being a 1 year. Number one is that he stays in Formula One. Now, did we ever think his Formula One career was in jeopardy? I don't think so. Even with the hard season he's had, I don't think his Formula One career was in jeopardy. That's safe to say. Okay, so what is it then? So the Mercedes seat specifically. The Mercedes seat was definitely going to be up for grabs. And that's fair. And the fact that Kimi can get 1 year at least in the door in 2026, he has another year to prove himself, prove to Mercedes this is the right choice. Because if he doesn't do well in Mercedes in 2026, he will be finding another team elsewhere that will not be as good. And who knows, that might be the beginning of the end in terms of the potential that could have been. And let's have it right. Just because Kimi Antonelli is, 18, 19 years of age, it doesn't mean he's definitely, and he's lightning fast. It doesn't mean he's going to be a world champion. We have seen drivers come and go. We've seen top talent come and go, and they've not become Formula One world champion. And that's a shame. Don't get me wrong. That's a big shame. But in the Kimi Antonelli sense, the fact that he's got the extra year, this is the year to prove himself now. He's had a hard first year. And if you were a part of the new rookie assembly when you joined in 2025, you might have looked at Kimi Antonelli's seat with envy because, oh man, he's got a great car. But with that great car comes great expectation. It's great, great reward requires great, a lot's required from you. Responsibility is high. And boy, I think some of those rookie drivers this year are thinking, do you know what? I'm glad I'm not in that Mercedes. I don't think there's any of those drivers, humbly speaking, I don't think any of those drivers are thinking I could do a better job than Kimi Antonelli. I don't think they are. And as well as these guys have done, your Isaac Hadjars, your Bortolettos, they've done bloody good, really good this season. So, and I don't think they would even think, oh yeah, I can jump in there and do that. So this is where it works for Kimi Antonelli in that sense. He gets himself the extra year. But overall, as a fan, I'm just a bit like, guys, let's give these people give them multiple year contracts. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see because we're gonna, you know what? Because 2026 will arrive from February, March, April, May, all the way to December again. We're going to be talking about the contract. I made about 8 videos about this contract saga with George Russell. You know, I made a couple about Kimi Antonelli. I can't be doing it again next year. Surely not. You know, that's why I'm a bit like, oh, give me a multiple year contract. That's what I'm after. That's what I want. But if it's the case, then you know what? It is what it is. Both these drivers will be driving for Mercedes in 2026. But the fact that Mercedes have specified 2026, pay attention. Some reports are saying it's multiple year deal. Some, you know, people are obviously assuming, like myself, it's just a 1 year deal because they ain't said nothing else. And until we hear something else, then we can go from there. But I think this is where it could benefit all 3 parties. 1 year deal, even though 1 year deal is just not a secure situation to be in. Let me know if I've made the case, if I've argued the case well enough. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below in terms of which one of the 3 parties does this benefit the most. In my opinion, it benefits George Russell the most because Mercedes could lose a driver who could be absolutely sensational going forward. He's already proving that he is top notch, and who knows what's going to happen from here. Honestly, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and until next time, lights out.